Hello and welcome back to the YouTube channel for Catch. My name is Sam and I am the founder and lead coach here at Catch. Unshakable confidence is the key to getting everything that you want in life and dating. So on this channel we talk about everything to do with confidence, mindset and how to utilise that in all areas of life, but with a particular focus on dating and relationships. If you want to work with us in any way, all that information is in the description box below, including a giveaway competition that we're running at the moment about building a movement of confidence and building a community. It's free to enter with hundreds of pounds worth of prizes, so check that out below. Today we're going to be offering a different perspective on how to build your confidence in something, whether that's something you want to experience, an outcome that you want to achieve, or embodying a more confident version of yourself. And often we talk about that in terms of self-belief and having a self-image that experience or that outcome is achievable for you and inevitable in your life. And we did a video recently called What is Confidence and Can It Be Learned, where we go into that in more detail, so we'll link that down below. But another way to think about this is people who are confident in something normalise it. They normalise having that job. They normalise having that career. They normalise being the person who's chosen in relationships. They normalise being husband or being the wife or being a player, or even just characteristics. They normalise being funny or sexy or interesting or cool or whatever it might be. What people often do is imagine a scenario or them as a certain version of themselves, that fun, interesting, playful version of them. And we do this naturally without necessarily overthinking it. We imagine a version of ourselves, we decide that's what we want to be like, we start to visualize it internally, we daydream about it, we see how we would interact with people, how we would respond to different situations as that version of ourselves. And then over time we put those behaviours in place, or we put those steps in place. Maybe if we want a certain career, we start doing the relevant training, we start speaking to people who have that career, we apply for jobs in that area. So we imagine ourselves enjoying that career or making money from it, and then we start to take steps in that direction. And it's quite easy to understand that when we think about a job, but we actually do this in every area of life. So when it comes to our friendship group, how do you see yourself in that friendship group? Do you see yourself as the organizer? Do you see yourself as the personality hire, so to speak? You just turn up and you get the party started. Do you see yourself as the shoulder to cry on? We will decide that we are a version of ourselves. We will start to put labels on that or describe that version of ourselves. We will imagine how we would embody that and what our behaviours would be and how we would interact with people as that version of ourselves. And then we start to become it. Even something as simple as being a good person. What does being a good person mean to you? Because if you want to be a good person, you will define what that means to you, and then you will start to behave in that way. Maybe being a good person to you is being on time, or dropping whatever you're doing for a friend who's in desperate need, or maybe it's putting your family first, or maybe it's being diligent in your job. You will define that and then become it. And we do this subconsciously all the time. And it can also work the other way. So if we're not confident in something, we might go into a job interview and without trying to, we're anxious around the job interview, we're not sure if we're going to get it, we overthink the outcome, whether it's going to go well or not. We start to visualise or see in our minds the interview maybe going well in parts or not going well in parts. We imagine us spilling some water or a weak handshake or not being able to answer a question. And then we panic and we feel that fear internally that that's how it's actually going to happen. And in both of those instances, whether it's in a positive direction of wanting to achieve the outcome or become a certain version of ourselves, what we're doing is deciding what we want the outcome to be, or what we think the outcome is going to be. We start to visualize it and imagine it, and we normalize it. So that's what we start to expect is going to happen. And then guess what happens? It's exactly what we expect. If we imagine the interview to go well, it goes well. If we imagine the interview to go poorly, we get anxious on the day and it goes poorly. Or if we imagine that someone's interested in us and then we start to pursue them with confidence and assuming that it's going to move forward, then that person often responds positively. If we go into that situation, a bit shy, a bit tentative, not sure, and not really confident in the value we bring to the table, then we're more likely to get a negative response or coming across as creepy. So really, in either instance, what we're doing is normalising the experience, whether that's what we want or what we don't. So how can we use normalising an experience as a tool to build our confidence and get closer to what we want? Well, it's about using the same process that we naturally do, but using it in a deliberate and intentional way. So first, get clear on what it is that you want. What's the outcome that you want? What's the relationship that you want? Is it as small as an interview going well or a conversation going well? Or it could be something big as a career change, or becoming that player, or becoming the most interesting person at a party, or just becoming a more confident version of you. Get really clear on what it is that you want and decide, make a decision. This is what I'm going to be now. This is who I'm becoming. This is what I'm working towards. Then start to visualize or imagine, and you can do this through daydreaming, so visualizing internally, or you can do it through writing. If you're a writer, you can start to write down, what would it be like if you were that person? What would it feel like to be close to someone? What would it feel like to be in that relationship? What would a day be like in that dream job? How would you show up if you were extremely confident in an interview? And practice it in your mind. So see it over and over again, or write down over and over again. What are those qualities? What are those behaviors? How would you feel in those situations? How would it feel to have a social group around you, or lots of friends, or be invited to things every weekend? What would it be like to be traveling, or to give a presentation and get up and talk? And just keep visualizing it until you feel confident in what that version of you would look and be like. And if you need support along the way, take it. If you need to look at some online content, online courses to help you build those skills, then do it. If you need to write down, okay, I want to be the funniest person in the room, but I struggle, I'm really funny when I'm with friends, but I struggle with new people. Okay, what is the challenge there, and where do you need some help? And maybe it's just spending some time with yourself, working through that. Maybe it's getting some help from friends or online, or a course or coaching, for example. And then start to practice that, whether that's out in the world, internally, or both. And there are lots of studies done on the power of visualization as a technique. So sports stars use this all the time for imagining them getting world records, winning the gold medal, winning their race, winning their sport, making good passes. And there's also scientific research that's been done that visualization is just as powerful as doing something physically. And they tested that on a range of sports, and it even included weightlifting. So there were people, and they had two control groups, one who went out and did the exercise for 20 minutes, let's say bench press or bicep curls for 20 minutes every day for 2 weeks, and then they looked at how much their strength had improved. And then they had people sit down and visualize doing the same exercises for 20 minutes, and their skill and their strength improved just as much from not lifting a weight at all. And they also tried this with basketball as a skill. They tried this with different instruments, so playing different songs on the guitar, and they saw the same consistent outcomes, that those who visualized it had just as much of an improvement of doing it in person. So as long as you need to build your confidence and normalize something through visualization, take it, and then start to practice in real life, or do a bit of both and see how you get on, and take the feedback and keep learning until that becomes normal to you. And the power of this is, once you start to normalize an experience, as I said before, you start to expect it. You go into situations expecting people to find you funny, expecting for people to be interested in you, expecting interviews to go well. Your anxiety dies down. You start to build confidence in that area. You start to become that new version of you that you envisaged at the start through this process of practice and normalizing something. And then as you expect it, it starts to become normal. And that starts to be the outcome that you get normally. And you've shifted from one version of yourself to another, from someone without the job to the job, or who wasn't confident being funny with strangers, who's now the funniest person in the room, or the one who didn't get the guy or girl and now does get the person that they're interested in. And people can pick up on that energetically as well. When we meet new people, and I'm sure that you've done this and experienced this, we make judgments very quickly, and we can sense, even without speaking to somebody, what their energy is and how confident are they feeling. And we can read from someone, do they have a warm energy or a cool energy? Are they someone who is extroverted and likes being around people, or introverted? Are they bringing energy today and livening this party or not? So people then start to see that in you and see you as that person as well, which continues to reinforce it. So you can start on the journey and you keep reinforcing it. People recognize that within you. You start to be seen as that person, not just internally to you, but to other people. And then people start saying to you, wow, you're one of the funniest people that I've met, or wow, you always get the person that you're interested in. But that comes after you've made the internal decision and shifted internally and become a new version of you. That external validation is the last step to confirm that you're on the right journey. It rarely, if ever, comes first. And one more example that I want to give around normalizing an experience. Not only is this useful if you want to become a new version of you or achieve a certain outcome, where this is also helpful is people who want to receive something different or that they haven't experienced in the past. And where we see this from a dating perspective when we're doing dating coaching is there are some people who have, say, been hurt in the past or abandoned in the past, or have led their relationships, for example, and they struggle to receive, or they struggle to be truly vulnerable. And so where normalizing an experience as well as going out and achieving something is helpful is normalizing receiving something. So start to imagine yourself being taken on nice dates, people being there for you when you need to share your emotions or talk about something difficult, people who stand by you through tough times. What would that feel like? What would they say? What would they do? Or people who look after you, and maybe you're always the person that's done things around the house. What would it be like to let someone else and give them the space to do things around the house? And what behaviours would you see from them earlier on? So normalizing an experience can be you going out and getting something or doing something or becoming a new version. It can also be learning to sit back and receive and normalize what it's like for other people to do things for you or for you to be vulnerable. And I remember I saw a post on Instagram and this person said, since I've been single and dating again, people have been treating me so well that I'm not even sure if I deserve it, and I'm not sure how to receive it. And this is something that we see a lot, especially working in the confident dating space. A lot of people are confident in terms of what they can give, but they aren't as confident in their self-worth or their value or what they deserve to receive from others. So it's much easier for them to give, but they find it harder to trust that someone could be interested in them for them without getting something back. They struggle to believe that someone wants to look after them because they deserve it. They struggle to think that people can show up for them. So looking at confidence as normalizing an experience can be very helpful for those people who aren't sure how to attract more loving kindness into their life, receiving into their life, or want to make space for something new. So reflect on if that would be helpful for you, because if you want to attract something new, you have to become new. You have to change yourself in some way, not necessarily change who you are as a core being, but maybe change how you're showing up and give people the space to show up for you. So again, just to recap, if you want something different or you want to build your confidence in something or achieve something, it's about deciding what it is that you want and getting clear on that, figuring out what that version of you would look like, or the version of you that would receive in that latest example. Imagine it, whether that's visualizing, daydreaming, or writing down, and then start to deliberately normalize and consciously normalize that experience, and keep imagining it and practicing it and putting things in place until that is an experience that's showing up for you. So I hope that helped. If you had any questions, anything wasn't clear, or you have any reactions, please do comment that down below. Love to hear your experience, or maybe there's a place in your life that you've made a shift like this, and you know, sharing your story could help other people, so please let them know below. And thank you for liking, sharing, commenting and subscribing, and we'll see you in the next one. Thanks, bye.